Hi, I'm TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I ask that you like, share, and comment on this video. Thanks for watching. All I gotta say is, who dat?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. Man, y'all know what we do when we mess up. Man, run that thing, man.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
All right, now, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and that's what happens when you're on two different live streams, right? I just got off the Rising to the Occasion podcast, and I was on a different software, so that's the reason why you all couldn't hear me, but hopefully you can hear me now. And on this edition of the State of the Saints podcast, we're going to be talking about defensive end Chase Young and should the Saints consider trading for the very, very talented defensive end. I did get off the podcast called Rising to the Occasion. I want to mention this again. The Rising to the Occasion podcast. Shouts out to Josh and the Belly Up Media Network for having me on the show. Was extremely excited about it and looking forward to maybe being on there in the future. And also a special shout out to RP3 and Company at 103.7 The Game. I was on 103.7 this morning to talk a little bit about the draft. This will not be a long show. The reason why we're actually even having a show tonight, y'all know it's been a while since I did a night show, was people have been asking me about Chase Young and would it be a good idea for the Saints to try to pursue him, especially since the Washington Commanders did not pick up Chase Young's fifth-year option. Chase Young has dealt with some injuries over the last couple of years. He's missed a total of 12 games in 2 years. His biggest season, he had 7.5 sacks back in 2021. And of course, we already know he was the second pick overall in the NFL draft a couple of years back. Should the Saints consider trading or making a trade for a guy like Chase Young? Absolutely, they should consider trading for this guy. This guy is extremely talented. He has otherworldly talent. He has generational talent. And, you know, if he can stay healthy, like you can say about a lot of star players, then, you know, I think that he would be a really, really good player. You know, nobody talks about him lacking effort. Nobody talks about how he has a cold motor. That's the motto for those that just tuned in 2023. No cold motors. Let me get that hashtag in the chat. Hashtag no cold motors, because we don't want no cold motors in New Orleans this season. If your motor run cold, stay out in the cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want hot motors, okay? We want high motors. That's what we want. You know what I'm saying? Motors that run hot. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about when you turn on the car, you think that your radiator broke. That's how hot I want it, because the Saints need guys that's going to be able to pressure the quarterback, that can be able to get to the quarterback consistently and not waiting to week 8 and week 9 for it to happen. Yes, I am going there. The Saints need a player like Chase Young. There's some guys in the draft, which I'm really excited about doing on tomorrow with you all, but there's some really good pass rushers in the draft that can change the fortunes of the New Orleans Saints. I do not want no cold motors. No cold motors in 2023, okay? All right? That's all I'm saying. Look, I do not want that. I know you don't want that. Chase Young motor runs hot, so I'll roll with him. Now, the question is, what will you be giving up for him, right? I'm thinking that the Saints will probably have to give up a second or a third round pick for him. Like, that's just that simple. Now, some of you are probably saying, man, he ain't worth no second round pick. If that guy turns around and has 15, 16 sacks and you sign him, I'm guaranteeing nobody's going to be saying nothing, because that's the type of talent that this dude actually has. He can give you 15.5 sacks, and I take that, okay? I guarantee you he can get 16.5 sacks before Peyton Turner can, from what we saw, right? Out of Peyton Turner. No disrespect to him, but the guy hasn't played. Guy hasn't done that. Dude was a healthy scratch. Okay, I'm going to keep on saying this. Dude was the first pick in the first round for the New Orleans Saints, and this dude couldn't even get on the field a healthy scratch. You are a team's first round pick, and you are a healthy scratch. All right. So if you're still waiting on this, you know, you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. But Chase Young, you know what you're going to get with this guy. All right. As long as this guy continues to stay healthy, he's going to do what needs to be done. Chase Young, okay, Chase Young has had 7.5 sacks. Okay, he had, I want to say he had 2.5 his rookie season. And the guy was continuing to like virtually be unstoppable. I don't know if you watch Washington Commander games or Washington football team games when he was out there. The dude is virtually unstoppable. I can remember watching mic'd up the NFL on the NFL Network, and I can remember Mike Tomlin being mic'd up, walking up to Chase Young, said, "I don't want nothing to do with you." He said, I don't want nobody like you. He said, if I'm picking guys like you, that means that I ain't winning. That's a testament to how good this dude actually is. So, yes, I will take this guy in a heartbeat. I guarantee you, if this dude comes to the New Orleans Saints, everybody and their mama gonna be trying to get Chase Young jerseys because the dude is that freaking talented. So let's see. Let's go ahead and read some of the comments. I agree to give up a first rounder for Chase Young, but the problem is we can't afford to give him long-term contract. Anybody that's still talking about the Saints can't give a guy a long-term contract after what y'all seen these guys do with the contracts, I think that it's time to move on from that. If the Saints want to make something happen, they can make something happen. If your motor run cold, then no black and gold. There it is. There it is right there. That's an even better rhyme. Let's see, no cold motors. So Marshawn gone then. I don't know what you're talking about with that one. Man, that dude is absolute beast. Like the Saints scheme their defense based around this dude. Enough said. if we can't get Chase Young, maybe we can get somebody like Chase Old or even Chase middle aged. Man, that is look. I thought that I was the dad on here, Josh. that was the dad joke of all dad jokes. So I gotta hit you with the
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's the dad joke right there. Let's see. 58 watching, only 16 likes. Let's go, y'all. Cartel, thank you so much for helping a brother out right there. Says show some love for the Best Saints podcast on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But the show would be nothing without each and every one of you. No doubt about that. I'm just blessed to be able to talk about my favorite team with some of my favorite people. So shouts out to y'all, man. Let's see. Dude, you double talk fork tongue. Don't know exactly what you're talking about there. Don't care if it's pertaining to me. Chase would help Cam Jordan. Yeah, he definitely would help him. Says, I enjoyed the channel you went on. Yeah, man. That's a chill vibe right there. You know, that's a very, very chill vibe. I like that, man. They got the whole sitting down, chopping it up with your friends type vibe over there. So I enjoy it, man. I enjoy doing that. Cartel says, hit the like button. It's free. I appreciate that once again. If the Saints get Chase Young, do you let Turner go or move Turner to the interior? You know, Eminem, I heard this a couple times from a few people here on the State of the Saints podcast, and that's not a bad idea because we know Peyton Turner. He played a little bit of interior at the University of Houston. He played inside as well as outside, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. And if the Saints decide to go pass rush, they can easily just kick him into the inside. I mean, it seemed like to me the last time I saw him, he looked like he was flirting with 300. He looked like he was about a bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle away from 300. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was a 7-Eleven Slurpee away from 301. Looked like he was maybe like one of those brownies that sit at the counter away from being 303. So, I think that you can do something with that. I mean, he has the athletic ability and the skill set to do it. So why not? I mean, you don't want to lose him. And, you still got him for a couple of years to try to figure it out. So why not try to, if it's not working out as a pass rusher, kick him to the inside and see if that works. True upgrade from what we have. Yeah, you want to get athletic right now. Like, this is the opportunity. You let all those guys go at D tackle, and you have opportunity now to get a little bit athletic, and you also let Davenport go, so you have a chance to have somebody that's athletic and available. No shots. I mean, it's not a shot if it's true, right? I'm just saying he has talent. We all know he has talent, but he didn't play. So I don't feel like that was wrong to say, right? So, hey, if your motor run cold, no soul, and you fold, that's no for the black and gold. Somebody spitting around that thing, huh? Bars. Who that till the death of me. I agree with that. You got some more now. It's definitely going to be baiting you a lot more. Man, I got some everything over here, man. I have sound bites. I didn't put more sound bites in. And I say, man, I mean, I don't want it to be like disingenuous or just be a little bit of a parody. I want to be able to get people excited about it. I don't want to keep on doing the same thing, but I definitely there's definitely going to be some changes, man, at the start of the season, man. First off, this room, which the room I've been trying to stay out of. If you've been following the State of the Saints podcast, you notice I've been doing shows during the day at the radio station. But it's because, I want to change this room around. I was supposed to change it around, this month. But my garden and stuff like that and trying to grow my grass outside in the lawn has taken up much of my time. Then, of course, in May, that's my son's birthday and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get it prepared, for football season. There's so many projects that I want to work on. I'm working on my son's children's book. I want to try to get that out during the summer. I'm trying to look for an illustrator with that. And there's so many things I want to do. Launch the Gumbo Pie Sports podcast. We about to have a publication with that. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of things coming up here, man. A lot of things coming up here on the State of the Saints podcast, and I'm excited, to be able to talk about these things. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Says Chase coming off the edge and Cam coming off the other side would be sweet. I agree. And I just think that Chase Young can be that guy that I've been talking about for months here on the show. A guy that can come in and I said about to say Drew Brees and Cam Jordan can kind of take his victory lap, man. He can go out there, and get sacks, but he ain't got to be the dominant guy, right? Like I just feel like that's kind of the way it's supposed to go. You have a guy who reached legendary status, and then there's a guy who comes behind him to be a successor, and he dominates, the young guy. And then, of course, the veteran guy, you're still, helping as a mentor and also getting busy as well. So I think that Chase Young would be that guy that can finally be that person that I've been looking for and I've been describing to help Cam Jordan. Off topic, but how long would you say Alvin Kamara has in a Saints uniform? You know what? I really don't know. I can tell you this, though, and this may sound controversial, but I don't care. If they play him like they did last year, let him go. Let him go. Like, Alvin Kamara deserves better, and you basically just wasting this dude away. You might as well just do what Al Davis did to Marcus Allen. Just let him sit on the bench and, and waste away. That's what you're doing to him. This dude has a skill set that is almost unmatched when it comes to the running back position. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run in between the tackles. But for some apparent reason, Pete Carmichael and the offensive staff must have thought that, they didn't have Alvin Kamara. They had Earl Campbell. Because why are you running halfback dives with a running back that's about 205 pounds? They say 215, but I don't believe it, man. If you ever seen Alvin Kamara in person, there's nothing about Alvin Kamara is 215. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a smaller guy. I'm gonna say he about 205 or something. And you got this man running up the middle like he Earl Campbell or Christian Okoye or something. Like, come on, man. If you're gonna do that, let that man go and try to get some draft capital for him, because you're clearly showing everybody you don't know what the heck to do with him. So that's just the way that I feel about it, man. Like, if they can find a way to get him the ball and he can revert back to his old ways, because the guy didn't fall off, the guy didn't fall off the map. The Saints just used him terribly. So if you're not going to use him the right way, I say try to do something with him, because, why waste such a talented guy? So if you're not going to do anything with Alvin Kamara, let the man exit stage left, and make a trade for him or something like that where he can go to a team that can use him. Let's see. Y'all thinking the same way about Antonio Brown? Not happening with Chase Young. Well, look, I think Antonio Brown and Chase Young is a little bit different. When it comes to Antonio Brown, that was kind of like out of desperation because, we just knew that Michael Thomas was the is-all and the be-all of the wide receiver room during that time. And we just felt kind of bad for the guy. So it was like, man, hey, you know what, man? Let's go ahead and try to holler at Antonio Brown. Let's try to see what he can do. Then, of course, I just think that, when it comes to Chase Young, is a little bit different. I think Chase Young wants to play, and every time he's on the field, he competes. Like, he came back and played in a few games last season. He competed. So that's all you want, man. It's that tells you right there, when a guy is healthy, he wants to play. Now, do I think that this is going to happen? Look, I'm going to put it to you like this. If this was a Sean Payton-led New Orleans Saints team, I would probably say no. But when it comes to Dennis Allen, I think that we have to suspend, our thoughts about the previous regime. I think that a lot of us, and it's not our fault. You've been under the same umbrella for the last 15, 16 years, almost 20 years. You just think that, man, that's just how it always going to be, right? I call it the milk and cereal complex. Like, you wake up every morning, it's the same bowl of cereal on the table, right? But I just think that what the Saints have shown us over the last couple of years, that there's a new sheriff in town. And also, I don't think Dennis Allen is good enough to be able to go out there and win consistently with average players. I think that he needs players that are more than average, right? With Sean Payton, I feel like Sean Payton can get the best out of an average player, right? You got Traquan Smith out there. You're not going to go for $110 every game, but hey, I can put you on the outside and you can be one of the best blocking wide receivers on the team. Like, Dennis Allen doesn't have that. Dennis Allen needs talent around him, in order for him to do his job, right? So in the previous years, I would say no, but now the way they've been rolling, I'm gonna say that there's a possibility that can happen until Chase Young signs a contract, which I feel like if he goes out there and let's just say he hits the ground running and he dominates for like 5-6 weeks, he's getting a contract. It's more like the Commanders saying, we like you, but you got to prove it to us, right? It's almost like you got to prove that you're worth us extending you. So if he goes out there and he balls out and he's looking like how he was building off year 2021, I don't think that, they're going to let him go. So I think it all depends on how he performs over the next few weeks if he's going to get a contract. I need the Saints to get my boy Miller in the 7th round from JSU. Yeah, man, Aubrey Miller, who I like a lot, good guy, hard worker, high motor. I would love to see him in the Saints uniform. I would love to see him in any NFL uniform because the kid works so hard. And anybody that's ever had like opportunity to meet the guy, you'll see why so many people hold him in such high regard. When I went to the Senior Bowl, when I saw him out there, if you was to see Aubrey Miller, and this is not a knock, man, but this in a way, man, I'm telling you, this is the way that I'm big up in this dude. If you went to the Senior Bowl and you seen Aubrey Miller out there going up against Luke Musgraves, right? And for those that may not know what Luke Musgraves is, he's a really good tight end. He went to Oregon State. He's probably going to be drafted probably in the first 2 rounds. That's how good he is. And you look at Aubrey Miller and like the matchup, Aubrey Miller just looked like he was in a land of giants. Like you ever seen that? There's this classic picture, and I'm about to lose some of my younger folk out there, but there's this classic picture of the classic Charlotte Hornets. The classic Charlotte Hornets. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and Muggsy Bogues, right? And it was this picture like when Muggsy Bogues like sitting there in a huddle with his head down trying to listen to what the play is, right? And Muggsy Bogues is like 5'4", 5'5" out there playing. You know what I'm saying? He might be 5'7", who knows? But it's just this iconic picture. That's what it looked like when Aubrey Miller was out there. It's like he had no business being out there, right? But he competed on every play, and he was sideline to sidelines. And him and Tajay Spears were the talk of the Senior Bowl. The first play from scrimmage from the Senior Bowl game, Hall from Northwestern broke off for about a 50-some-odd yard run. Aubrey Miller was clean cross field, came there with a full head of steam and just completely steamrolled that boy. Right? You know what I'm saying? But that shows the determination and heart that guy actually has. So I would love to have a guy like that on the team because you're going to have somebody that's going to compete every time. Not going to be the most elite linebacker in the world, but he's going to play and he's going to give you 150% every time he goes out there, no matter what you have him doing, right? It's special teams or you want him to go out there and just have a play on defense. He's going to give you his all. Miller, I think, led the Senior Bowl in tackles too. First Deion Sanders Pro 2. James Houston is first pro. James Houston for the Detroit Lions, who came in the middle of the season and had back-to-back 2-sack games. So yeah, James Houston is a guy that was drafted by the Detroit Lions. I want to say in the 4th round or the 5th round. It was one or the other, but yeah, he would be the first guy that was drafted from Jackson State under, I guess, the whole Deion Sanders umbrella. He's small, yes. Yeah, he's small, but I'm telling you, man, he has a lot of heart, and that I can respect. Let's see. Well, Sean Payton will have plenty of opportunities to get the best out of average players because Denver offense has plenty. Look, I don't even think Denver's offense is average. I just think that Nathaniel Hackett couldn't hack it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the truth. I feel like he just didn't have what it takes to be in the big time, you know? So I don't want to put that on the offense. I mean, look, I understand that Russell Wilson is getting older, but man, it's like, this is like an episode. It was like a movie Space Jam or something like that. Like somebody sucked the talent out of Russell Wilson there. And I just think that, I just think Sean Payton is going to have those guys playing much better. I mean, he got Callaway, he got his number one receiver out there, and you got Latavius Murray who's out there as well. And I'm pretty sure some other guys are going to follow suit. Maybe if Traquan Smith don't pan out in training camp, and maybe some other guys that he probably can bring out there. So I don't think they're going to be that bad. Jaleel, thank you very much for the 99 cents. Appreciate that, man. Much love to you. Says the draft starts at 7 p.m. Central Time Thursday. Yep, absolutely. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Time where I am. And we're going to be right here on the State of the Saints podcast, wall-to-wall coverage. You know what I'm saying? Chris Brown style, wall-to-wall. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be taking phone calls. We're going to be making comments. We're going to be having actual reactions, right? Somebody might pop up on the show. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Always exciting around this time of year. I always get excited to talk draft, the draft with everybody. The State of the Saints podcast draft edition has become a little bit of a classic. I was trying to come up with like this highlight reel of just moments from the draft throughout the years. Like they were just absolutely funny and epic. But unfortunately, this is the end of the month, and that's probably like my biggest time, especially like at work. But I wanted to do that. But man, there are so many great moments that happen, and maybe I'll probably play some of them. Maybe I can get a few together in my my downtime at work, and maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that, man. But we've had some funny moments here, man. There's been some funny moments, some laughs, some epic rants. Man, I think DA will be okay if he stopped with the short practice this camp season. I think he'll be all right if well, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be all right. I'll try to find something nice, man, but I can't. I can't. I'm giving him an opportunity. I'm giving Dennis Allen an opportunity, right? But man, dude got to get it done. Like there's no more excuses this year. There's no more excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses. Like for real, man. I don't want to hear no excuses. I got love for everybody out there in New Orleans, but I ain't trying to hear no excuses about what Dennis Allen is trying to do to try to help the team when it's around week 9 and they 4 games under 500. I ain't trying to see that, okay? I ain't saying that that's going to happen, and I'm not predicting it. And I believe that he can be above 500 around that time. But I'm just saying, I ain't trying to hear no more excuses. I ain't trying to hear nothing, right? I'm just letting you know right now, this dude went out here and got his quarterback. He went out there and got his coaching staff. He went out there and got everything that he needed to succeed, including retaining Pete Carmichael. That was on his own dollar. Period. That was it. That was your doing. So I don't want to hear, man, the offense, man, you could have been all right if Pete Carmichael was gone. Well, you had opportunity to let Pete Carmichael go. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury out there. You could have got Eric Bieniemy. You could have got Brian Johnson. Probably could have paid him a little bit more Skrilla. You could have got Joe Brady. He ain't doing nothing but over there, sitting in the same room with Ken Dorsey, who's probably going to get a head coaching job before him. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Period. If somebody come on here making excuses or putting videos up, see TJ, man, this is the reason why the Saints losing. This is right here. Nah, bro, let me hashtag the Saints for real. Nah, bro, miss me with all that noise that you talking. This dude better hit the ground running. Period. Or we gonna have some very, 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 very serious episodes of State of the Saints podcast. I like to say they're gonna be entertaining. But at the same time, we're going to have what they call a come to Jesus meeting about ODA. All right. There's only so many times we can just say, well, we shouldn't look at his Raider record. We should look at his Saints record because the Raiders was dysfunctional. Nah, bro. All these excuses. I'm tired of it. Like, it's rather you got it or you don't. It's put up or shut up time. It's time to put all the chips in the middle of the table and say, let me see what you got. Period. Don't please. I'm telling you, please do not come on the State of the Saints podcast during the 2023 season trying to justify Dennis Allen to me. Do not do it. bruh, you look, Perry Mason couldn't prepare a better case to convince me that dude was the guy. For real. If he can't get it done in 2023 with the talent that he has, the quarterback that he wanted, and the offensive coordinator that he decided to retain, chunk up the deuce to DA. For real. Chunk up the deuce to DA. I would say it 3 times like Dr. Ubar. Chunk up the deuce for DA. Cause dude ain't got it. If you can't win with this, I have zero faith in Pete Carmichael after what I saw last year. Look, I ain't gonna say I got zero faith in Sneaky Pete, but Pete ain't as sneaky as we thought. I'm gonna just say that. Okay, right now, Pete Carmichael is looking like the guy that I have joked around about that said that he was basically on juicy fruit duty. For those that are new to the channel, juicy fruit duty is the guy who goes and fetch juicy fruit gum for Sean Payton, his favorite snack during the game, chewing on gum, right? So that's what he is if he can't get the job done. That's what he was looking like, right? But I'm not going to say that I completely lost faith in the guy. I want to see it again, okay? I got to see if this is what it is, okay? I need to be side view mirror here. I need to see if this object is closer than what it appears. I need to know if he's as close to juicy fruit duty as we joked around about, right? You know, like I'm just saying, man. I mean, I'm probably giving him the opportunity for an endorsement. You know what I'm saying? Talking about juicy fruit gum. Wouldn't that be funny though? Wouldn't that be funny if you were watching the juicy fruit commercial and see Pete Carmichael over there? But anyway, man, look, I believe in Pete, man. I think that Pete can get it done, man. But only time would tell. Only time would tell. Let's see. Couldn't justify it to me before he was hired, so he got a long way to go to. A lot of people didn't want him to be there. That is true. Right, TJ, no excuses. He addressed his coaching staff to the way he likes, and it got the quarterback he drafted years ago. Your division title is minimal requirement. Look, I just want to make the playoffs. Like, I get it. I completely understand, man. I understand how you feel, but here's the thing. I just want to make the playoffs. Like, we know the Saints can win the division. We've seen it on 4 consecutive occasions. I just want these boys to make the playoffs. It's been a minute, man. This would be, if they don't make the playoffs this year, it would be 3 seasons the Saints don't make the playoffs. And that's going to be giving me PTSD from the days of 1993. You know, like when you know, they couldn't buy a win, say at least a playoff berth. Okay. And that's going to be concerning. And that's also would mean that it's time for us to look for a new head coach. That's what that means. All right. So hopefully they can make the playoffs. The strength of schedule, and once again, take that with a grain of salt because we all know that teams get better every single year. But they have one of the easiest schedule according to NFL, the easiest schedules. Okay, so if they can't make the playoffs with a quote unquote easy schedule, then your boy needs to exit stage left. Okay, fade to black. Okay, y'all ever been in a movie theater, or you know, when a movie about to start, they dim the lights a little bit, or you go see a Tyler Perry show or any type of stage play, they dim the lights real slowly. That's what it needs to happen. Okay, they need to dim the lights. Okay, they need to fade to black. That's what they need to do if they can't get the job done with one of the easiest schedules in the league. Easiest schedules. I'm gonna just say that, but according to like the way things are set up, it's supposed to be pretty easy. Playoffs, you kidding me? Playoffs? I just want to win a game. Another one. Yeah, another game. Let's see. DA, they said, "Ooh, he's so sassy." Look, I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the man's like walking, all that kind of stuff. I don't look. All I want to do is all I want this guy to do is win some football games. That's it. Like he'll be all right with me. I don't care if like you look. The thing about it is, you got to win. Like, you got to win. I don't care what you got. You got to win. I guarantee you, nobody would care how DA walk or make fun of anything that he says. They will, like, people will call him Captain Cleanup, like it's a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was out here winning, right? But you gotta win. And he knows that, man. And that's why, like, honestly, I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel like these dudes know this, man. I'm not in an ego stroking business. These guys know what they need to do. And I don't feel bad about saying what I'm saying because it can be backed up with facts. The guy, as a head coach, has not been very good. And he has something to prove. And if he cannot prove it, then it's time to go. Great coordinator. He's going to bounce back on his feet. If he gets fired on Black Monday, he'll have a defensive coordinator job by the end of the week because he's that good defensively. And that's the sad thing about it, because if something was to happen to him as far as him getting fired, you know he's going to go somewhere else, and the Saints are going to lose all of that great defensive minded his defensive plays and his prowess. That's the worst thing about all this. If he was to get fired, the defense, in my opinion, would take a step back because the guy is like him or not, he's that good at calling plays. He is that good. So, you know, like I just, you know, that's the worst thing about all this. But if that means that your defense will be bombed, but you ain't doing nothing, you know, it ain't worth it, man. You know, I don't care if he Rex Ryan, Buddy Ryan, with a combination of who's give me another good defensive coordinator out there, Bill Cowher, with a combination of Marvin Lewis for the Baltimore Ravens. I don't care if he mixed all that in one. I ain't trying to see that if a team ain't winning, if they ain't making the playoffs. I ain't trying to see it. I don't care what you got wrapped up in there. I don't care if you're the greatest defensive mind in the history of football. You got to win. Come on, TJ, hit that DA walk one time for us. It's a classic. Hit the DA walk. Let me see if I actually still got that. Let me see. I forgot I had that instrumental. I wasn't ready for that one, man. One more time. I forgot I had the instrumental. Oh my God. I forgot I had put that. I forgot that. Honestly, that was the original one. I thought I took it out. Wow. Molly, I thought I took that one out, man. I was actually waiting. Like, honestly, I actually thought that this was the one that was going to play. I was making it easy for the cleanup woman. I completely forgot that I had. Oh my goodness. I forgot I had that Beyonce instrumental for Naughty Girl. But I'm glad I still got it. Oh my goodness. Yes. I thought I lost that, y'all. I thought I lost the Who That Nation. But I'm glad we got it. Shouts out to Bally, man, for bringing that up. Jameis don't play smart enough to be allowed to call his own plays. Look, I'm good on the Jameis talk, man. His daddy already mad at me. Shouts out to Mr. Ant. Look, I don't know what I said. I had to go back. I'm like, what did I say? I woke up the next morning and I see Mr. Ant, Jameis's father, like talking about I was blaming Jameis for Sean Payton leaving. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, if that was said or what it was determined by that, I apologize. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe that. I think it was a combination of things. I think, to be honest, I think they had something to do with it as well. But I don't think it's the sole reason. You know, I don't. You know, I feel like this. If I will say this. Nah, forget it. I just feel like if it was a guy like Patrick Mahomes, like honestly, if Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback for the Saints, do you think Sean Payton would have left? Yes or no? Like, seriously, like, let's stop playing around. Like, for real, let's stop it. Like, I get it, man. Let's stop playing around. Like, that if you have a good quarterback with the ability and the talent to be great, you're not going to leave that. I guarantee you, Andy Reid, they're going to have to wheelchair Andy Reid up out the Kansas City Chiefs facility as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback. I'm just saying. Now, quarterback and other things have to be going on, right? You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to say it was completely Jameis, but I feel like if he thought that Jameis was a generational talent, or he had like, you know what I'm saying, like he felt like he could just win multiple Super Bowls, there's no way in the world he would have left. I think he likes Jameis. I think he thinks that Jameis is really a really good quarterback. But do I feel like he trusts him the way that he trusted Drew? No. You know, but do I think he did that for any quarterback on the roster? Heck no. It ain't just him, right? It's all of them, you know, and not just them, it's the team in general. And he probably wondering, like, you know, he just felt like it was a good time to move on from that. So, I mean, if what I say is offensive, I apologize, but I didn't mean it that way. But it ain't just him. But you gotta, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you gotta get it done. You gotta get it done. And look, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I like Jameis Winston a lot. Got a lot of respect for him. I really do. But people are making a bigger case for him being good than he is. Because he has, you know what I'm saying? Because and honestly, it's not his fault, you know what I'm saying, for the last couple of years. Because he went to a different environment, which I feel like an environment that would have worked for him. But he had a little bit of bad luck. And now you find yourself with, you know, individuals on social media, you know what I'm saying, like bringing up his stats and all of the things that he has going for himself. But the problem is, it sounds like Paul Revere running through the city talking about the British are coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's like, right? The British haven't shown up yet, but Paul Revere out here talking about they coming. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that, right? It's like, you know, the stat line says this, if you give him this, you give him that, but it hasn't been seen. And I'm sorry, man, but a coach is not going to wait around for potential. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that potential is about 8 years into the league. Now, if Jameis Winston was probably in his third or fourth season, then I think he probably would have stayed around because his upside is incredible. But, man, Jameis almost 30 years old, folks. I mean, what, he like 28? So, I don't know, man. It's not like we talking about a rookie here. So, I think it might have had something to do with it. Not everything, but like I said, it's not just him. Taysom Hill too. Trevor Siemian too. Ian Book too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like that. It's not just him. It's all of them. Let's see. The only quarterback who has called their own plays since 1974 was Jake Delhomme in a 3-game stretch in 2009. The radios went out in a game against the Giants. Jake called his own plays. Well, Jake Delhomme is a savant, right? And he's a good quarterback. I don't feel bad about saying that. He went to the Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. And if the Saints would have moved on from Aaron Brooks a little bit earlier and rolled with Jake Delhomme, who knows where they would have been. So going to keep it real, TJ. Sometimes you do 180s on your talking points. I don't know if you forget what you said or what. Maybe I do 180s. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like sometimes I change my mind about certain things. I do agree with you on that. But at the same time, like, I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. Like you can't give, like, just because I don't know if you're talking about the whole Jameis Winston situation, just because I said that he's one of the reasons where, you know, I feel like Sean Payton, you know what I'm saying, could have thought about, you know what I'm saying, can I win with this dude? Doesn't mean that I don't have respect for him. I don't think that he's a starter in the league. See, here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about here. The reality is when a person says something positive about somebody, it just seems like people just feel like you have to say something positive about a person about everything, right? And if you say anything that may be considered critical, then that means that that's an indication that you don't like that person or you don't respect that person. And that's just not the case. Okay, I'm pretty sure, you know, a lot of people like me, You know, but at the same time, it might be some qualities that they don't like, but that don't mean that they don't like me. And that's what I'm saying. It's like when people come on here, they expect for me to, like, if I like this guy, if he has like he has a shortcoming, or he plays bad, or you know what I'm saying, like he not doing what he needs to do, then I should be quiet about it and not say anything. But it's just the truth. Like, it's just the truth, man. You can still like a person. You can still like a person and still be able to be critical about them. And that's what I'm like. If you're looking for a person like that, then I'm not him. I'm not him. You know, like I think if you ask me, do I feel like Jameis Winston could be a starter in the league? Absolutely. Do I feel like he has upside? Yes. Do I feel like at times he got the short end of the stick and how he was treated in New Orleans was unfair? Absolutely. But one can still be true and the other can still be true as well. Right? He can have all this upside and all this ability and be considered a starter, but he can still be the sole reason why, you know what I'm saying, or a reason why coaches leave, a coach leave, because he don't feel like that guy has what it takes. Or he feels like the guy is good, but is he good to a point where I feel like he can consistently take me where I need to be? Both can be true. And I just don't understand like how nobody can understand that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to wait a pom-pom for every situation. You're talking about a guy who has lost subscribers, and basically people just completely like tried to eviscerate me because they had a stretch where Drew Brees was looking old, and I called it out. And people got mad at me, man. You ain't no real Saints fan. You fake, man. Man, Drew Brees, man, he gave his all. He gave blood, sweat, and tears and years to this team. How fair are you? Well, here it is, man. I can still love Drew Brees, who I consider as the best New Orleans Saint of all time, and also talk about how he played like trash versus the Las Vegas Raiders in 2020. That don't mean I don't like him. I just called it out. He did not play well. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for that. I respect Jameis Winston. I like Jameis Winston. I like, his dad is shouts out to him, shouts out to his management team. But once again, like, you still can like a person and at the same time be critical of them. So I have no problem. Honestly, seriously, I'm not going to always speak pleasantly about guys that I love. That's just what it is. Like, some of you just think that being critical of a team or saying anything negative about a guy after you said something else. Well, see, man, you wishy-washy, right? No, I'm not wishy-washy. My wife loves me, and I feel like she does. I love her. I'm pretty sure we get on each other's nerves from time to time, right? But that don't mean, that my love goes away. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're critical towards each other, that love doesn't go away. It's still there. It exists. So that's the way I'm talking, man. Michael Thomas, you had a doctor explaining his injury, and you still was doubting his availability because of a QQ. Instead, he was really going through the injury. TJ, you said because of a QQ. What are we talking about? You said Michael Thomas, you explained a doctor explaining his injury, and you still was doubting his availability because of, I don't know what QQ is. Instead, he was really going through it. No. Okay. If I think about what you're talking about, here's the thing. Okay. Shouts out to my guy, Dr. Jesse Morris. Let me explain this to you. Okay. And I get it. I can understand where you're coming from. When Dr. Jesse Morris was on the show, right? Dr. Jesse Morris was telling us at the beginning, right? He was telling us about the beginning about what the deltoid injury was about, tragic. And then he talked about what, his future would look like, right? You know what I'm saying? It would be, what his future look like. He'll have to go through this type of rehab. He won't be the same person, this, that, and the third. But you got to keep in mind, there was a full year removed, okay? And then there was the whole, that was him coming back, right? And then he got hurt again, but Dennis Allen was making it seem as if the injury wasn't as bad. right? So, you know what I'm saying? When I went to Dr. Morris again, he told him about the deltoid injury, and he started talking a little bit. I want to say he talked about the toe injury too, if I'm not mistaken. But it was two different scenarios. I was questioning the fact of the commitment level at the beginning because of what Dennis Allen was saying. He was minimal, he made it seem like the injury was minimal. And just like you, Tragic, I react on what I hear, right? So when it came out that he won't be able to come back, I mean, I had no choice. Like, man, this sucks, right? But as long as they had that thought out there about him being, being available to play, and he ain't playing, I mean, there's always going to be that, that thought in the back of your mind. But there was two different occasions Dr. Morris was on this show. He was on this show to explain to us about the deltoid injury and what the rehab process would look like. And then there was another time during the time he was dealing with he was still, no, I think he was pretty much done with the foot, but we were asking him why it took so long, and it was leading into that toe injury. So maybe it was like two different things. But I know I had him on here twice. But I can understand why you feel that way. But at the same time, like, I'm only going by what I see. And if a coach is telling you, oh, he's going to be back in this, and all of a sudden, like, that happens, like, of course, I'm a question. Let's see. Michael already read that one. It says, just checking in, TJ, what I missed. We talking about Chase Young possibly coming to the Saints via trade. Would that be out of the realm of possibility? And also just kind of answering questions. Let's see. No wishy-washy. We just call it how we see it. Let's see. Talking about Chase Young playing with the Saints. Yeah, thank you for that, Jerry. It boggles my mind the way that y'all initialize someone being critical or disliking your behavior as them not liking you or hating you. Why do y'all conflate? Well, I just say, like, sometimes one can be true and the other can be true. And like I said, man, I don't know, man. Like I said, I have respect for these individuals that I'm talking about. But just like you, man, I mean, when people give me information, I adjust. I gotta adjust. I gotta adjust. Like, there are certain things that I find out. And of course, I tell anybody this. I will say this to anybody. I don't sit up here like, this is one thing that I try not to do. I don't try to sit up here and act like I'm just the most correct guy in the room. I think people may think that because I'm the only one with the microphone. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is in the chat. And of course, I'm going to sound louder because you can be talking to me right now, but I can't hear you. But if I'm wrong, like, I can say certain things about a player. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. How many years did I talk about PJ Williams and him being smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit, and he know where the bodies are buried? That's why he keep on getting these 1-year deals. But then, he turned into a good player, and I'm like, okay, I'm eating crow. I have no problem with that. And sometimes, like I said, some of the information that I find causes me to change my mind. And you know what I'm saying? I have no choice. Am I supposed to? I can't lie to kick it. Then I would look even worse. Like, I'm doubling down on the nonsense. And we know we don't like when people double down on the nonsense, man. Thanks, OG. I wouldn't trade too much for him. Says, respect, TJ. You explained that Jameis situation perfectly. Yeah, Avery, look, all I'm saying is I like him. Got a lot of respect for him. Have asked, his management team for him to come on the show, I don't know how many times. I got respect for him. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I mean, you got to call it for what it is. Like seriously, you got to ask yourself this question. If Jameis Winston had the skill set or the ability that Patrick Mahomes had, or, anything like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Would you think that Sean Payton would have left the Saints? I don't think so. I don't think he would not have left the Saints. If Jameis went, like, seriously, I even go, like I said, I even go a little deeper. If Jameis Winston was going into his third season as a member of the New Orleans Saints coming out of Florida State, Sean Payton will still be with the Saints. That's the way I feel. I really feel that way. I really truly feel that way. I mean, like I said, that's not a knock on Jameis. I just feel like, you know, this what eight, it was going like his 8 years, something like that. And I think Sean took that into consideration. Just like I think he took into consideration Taysom Hill's age, Trevor Siemian inability to be able to do anything as a starting quarterback. Ian Book have to, some years to wait in order for him to go out there and play. I think he took all that into consideration. Shouts out to Dolph17 and his wife. Happy anniversary from TJ Jones and SOTS family. Yeah, shouts out to you, Dolph. Happy anniversary to you, and your wife. Hope that you all have many more, man. It's how Mahomes sees the game. Jameis has physical talent. I think I ain't gonna say that, man. Like Jameis has arm talent too, man. Jameis has physical talent and arm talent. He has just as much arm talent as Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes is a little bit more accurate. Yeah, I say that. He's a little bit more accurate. And I mean, I ain't gonna say that their arm talent is identical, but man, Jameis can sling it with Patrick Mahomes too. But I just think that, man, it's just the upside. PJ Williams always comes with the following disclaimer. You talking about cornerback PJ? Yep. Yeah, cornerback PJ, nah, that ain't it. Safety PJ, I'll roll with that. TJ, Jameis don't play smart, and that's part of the reason why he can't finish the season. I think Jameis tries really hard to succeed. And I think he wants to win so badly, he's willing to do anything to make that thing happen. And that part of Jameis's game, I mean, you have no choice but to respect. But sometimes that can put you in harm's way. But I mean, I think that Jameis tries hard. And I think a lot of times, like you say, he gets hurt because he is trying too hard. He's trying to wait for that player to get down the field, even though he should have just kind of just took that sack and threw the ball out of bounds. But that's kind of like the warrior mentality, always feeling like you can make the play to win the game. And that's kind of hard to shake. I mean, that warrior mentality follows you. TJ, what would you give up for Chase? Probably I give up like a 3rd round pick for him. I give up a 3rd. I mean, if with James Okudah, what did he go for? He went for like a 5th round pick, and this guy was a top 5 pick. So, and he had a history of being hurt. So, yeah, I mean, I'll give you a 3. I'll give you a 3 for him. What up, TJ? Keep doing what you're doing. and your Dennis Allen voice or in your Nola Black voice. Because if it was in Dennis Allen voice, oh man, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Says haters gonna hate TJ, but you keep grinding and keep pushing. I don't even want to call people, saying haters. I don't want to say that, man. I can understand, like, maybe some people feel, man, but at the end of the day, sometimes one thing I want people to do, right? And just like he did, man, I wanted you to call me out on it. You know what I'm saying? So I can be able to explain. Because sometimes when you're like talking and you're just trying to, like get through certain things, sometimes your statements can be a little bit incomplete. This allowed me to elaborate, you know what I'm saying? Like on certain situations. But, at the same time, once again, I have nothing but respect for Jameis Winston. I have nothing but respect for his dad, right? But, like I said, man, I can't make people happy all the time. Some of the things I may say people, might not like, but I'm me, you know what I'm saying? And this is my opinion and my thoughts and my views about things. So it is what it is. While TJ, you are in management, right? So people must be perfect on their jobs and don't understand constructive criticism. No. People ain't perfect on my job. But I mean, there's only a few people that work. But yeah, I mean, people, and I don't know. I just think that sometimes we live in a society where people just think that if you say things that are ultra critical towards them, that it's an indication that you don't like them or to respect them. And I know where that's coming from sometimes. It's because you really don't understand. And sometimes, a lot of times when people can't take criticism, it's because they have some doubt within themselves. And I know this feeling because I was like that. What made me realize it was it was one time, I was acting in a play, right? I'll never forget this. I was at Jackson State University, and I was in this play called Ceremonies and Dark Old Men. And I played the character of this character's name was Bobby. And Bobby was the brother of the main character. Bobby didn't talk. I didn't have many lines in the play, which those are the ones I love, right? But the biggest issue was I was always on stage. So I was always standing around listening to the conversations. But that's probably one of the hardest roles to do, to be honest with you, because you got to keep moving around and look active and look involved and all that kind of stuff there. But anyway, I end up having to do something and I end up losing my place, right? I was just standing right there watching the whole like dialogue go. And the director was like, "What are you doing?" And he kept on like going at me and going at me and going at me because I kept on stopping and looking at what they were doing because, I kept on getting lost. And he finally like went up to me and was like, "Do you even want to be in this play?" And I was like, "You know what?" And I walked off stage. I left, right? And it wasn't it was because, it was because I couldn't take constructive criticism. So that's the way I look at it. It was because of I couldn't take criticism. So, that made me learn a valid lesson. Like sometimes, it's okay to, like somebody to be critical of what you're actually doing. I mean, it's not a shot at you. It's just the fact that you want to get, want you to get better. But let's just have to say that. Let's see. There isn't anything wrong with constructive criticism, but nobody likes being talked to like they're dumb. I agree with that. But, with constructive criticism, you got to know how to deliver it, right? You got to know how to deliver constructive criticism. It says, would you trade the 8th pick for Chase Young if he comes to our division? He would be a Falcon. Well, I'll tell you what, Dimitri, if the Atlanta Falcons trade their 8th pick for Chase Young in the draft, find yourself a new team. I'm just saying, I'm going to say that one more time. If your team trades their 8th pick for Chase Young, find yourself another team, because that would be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Y'all have so many needs on that team for y'all to be messing around with Chase Young, right? Who has, I don't know, Reggie White upside, but Takk McKinley availability. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I tried to use it in a way that you can understand. So that wouldn't be a smart idea. That would not be a smart idea. Let's see. We were ahead of the curve. Now you have Mahomes and Burrow and older guys like Wilson and Rodgers that can do that. They can react. They are reactive. It is completely different type of quarterbacks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a changing of the guards and stuff like that, man, that's going on right now. And some of those guys that have the skill sets, like Mahomes and Burrow are dominating the league, and Wilson and Rodgers, I mean, look, Father Time is undefeated. I mean, those guys go out there, they give their hearts for many, many years. And, you start to slow down. The reflexes get a little bit slower, right? So, yeah, I mean, the new school is definitely here. While my boy TJ was killing it on the stage on some Shakespeare-ish. I wouldn't say all that, but I mean, I was in a few plays at Jackson State. I was in Ceremonies and Dark Old Men. I was in Fences that we did at Jackson State. I was in a few little things that my communication professor wrote, little monologues and stuff like that over the course of time. But I always had a passion, for acting and stuff like that. Theater is actually my minor. I minored in theater. It always holds a special place in my heart. And every now and then, I get that little itch to like want to do something. But the best thing about it is, I mean, I get to do this show, so I can be as creative as I want to be. But I think I would miss theater a lot more if I didn't have this platform. If I wasn't able to create and use this outlet in order for me to do things creatively. It says it's called unbiased media. I think we have gotten used to the ESPN and Fox News blatant biased fanboy sports shows, and they pick sides and blindly defend their favorite players. Well, man, I just realized, and I thought about what type of personality I wanted to be. There are so many people that talk to me and they tell me about my presence and all that kind of stuff, and the way that I talk and this, that, and the third. And, I think about it from time to time, but I just feel like if I change those things, then would I really truly be myself? I feel like I'm more relatable. Like, and I just think that some people just, and nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, they want to chase the dollar, and what I'm saying, they want to, they'll be anything those executives want them to be, as long as they can just keep their position. I feel like what's going to happen to me is inevitable. I feel like I'm going to make it, but I just want to do it the way that I want to do it. And there's been several times where I could have told the line and, and been like everybody else. And in certain ways, what I'm saying, I feel like, it might stun certain things, but you can't stop me from, doing what I'm going to do. And you definitely ain't going to stop my drive, because that's just the way that it rolls. But as far as these people that's as far as with the media and stuff like that, I mean, they're just kind of playing a role. It's all about entertainment at the end of the day. But it's just, like I just feel like it's just disingenuous. And maybe nobody ever catch on to you. That's the thing. Nobody may ever catch on to you, but you'll know the truth. And that's the part that I just can't handle. Like, I can do what people ask me to do, and I don't think people would care, but I would. Let's see. I don't care what you did to them Raiders. Just be good to me. Ooh, let's see. I'll always be a Saints fan, even after Dickie and Ricky. Man, that was terrible right there. That was terrible. TJ, who you played in Fences? I like the movie. I played Lions. I played Troy Maxon's oldest son. Right? The trumpet player that never played the trumpet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was me, man. I was never in the main role. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't that good. I wasn't that cold. You know what I'm saying? That belonged to my guy, Rob Demery, and my boy, Jay Ward out there, man. That's for them boys right there. Rob Demery, man, this man on Broadway, man. He was in the Mahalia Jackson movie. He played Martin Luther King in that. He played the drummer in Get On Up, man. That's my guy right there, man. And also, he taught me a lot about acting. And he also taught me that I didn't want to do that as a career. Because I looked at that dude and I seen how serious and how dialed in he was. What made me just really respect this dude and realize he was just in a whole nother league. I had a senior project, and this dude, he agreed to do an interview for me. And I can remember starting the interview. I was like, man, I got a guest with me right now, Robert Demery. That man stopped the tape. That man said, Rob Demery. I said, man, I ain't ready for the big time. But seriously, but long story short, Chosen, yeah, I played Lions in Fences. Yeah, but I enjoyed it, man. And actually, man, Fences, they brought that back. Speaking of Rob Demery, he actually directed it. And my old college professor, Dr. Mark G. Henderson, is playing Troy in there. I think they just finished up. So shouts out to him if you're running across this doc, if you're running across this Rob, congratulations, man. I hope everything was a success. It looked like it was. Let's see, TJ, do you see the Saints actually going after Chase? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, King Arthur. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I wouldn't look at the old Saints guard and try to have that, put my judgment towards them not doing it. I would look at what they've been doing for the last couple of years. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. TJ, if they make a Creed 4, you can fight Michael B. Jordan. Hey, maybe, you know what I'm saying? It looked like Jonathan Majors don't want to make that money, you know. Why not? Why not, man? Look, I've been in the gym. I've been clanging and banging for the last 2-3 months. You know what I'm saying? I can be the villain in Creed 4. Me and Michael B. Jordan, I think we're around the same age. You know what I'm saying? I think we can make that work. I can be the dude that try to avenge Dame loss. You know what I'm saying? I can be that dude. Let me be that. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I can talk trash. I can be entertaining. And I get knocked out at the end of the movie like every other boxing villain. TJ, you do a great job. This is coming from a Saints fan from New Jersey. Sean, thank you very much. Sean King, not the Sean King from Tulane, not the Sean King, the guy who talks about politics, but Sean King from New Jersey. Shouts out to you, man. Appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, my bad. Tyrone. Tyrone, thank you very much for being a supporter of the show. It says, TJ, tomorrow will be the third draft live on your podcast. Yeah, I know, man. That's crazy, right? We're going into our 6th year here on the State of the Saints podcast, and this will be our 3rd annual event. So I'm excited about that, man. Excited. And, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, man. Am I the only one that gets the heebie-jeebies? I ain't nobody say that in so long. The heebie-jeebies at draft time because of the trauma from Mike Dicker traded our entire draft for a running back, waking up in cold sweats. I got to say that like James Brown. I don't want to wake up in a cold sweat the night before the draft. Let me say that whole statement like James Brown. I don't want to get the heebie-jeebies in the draft time because of trauma from Mike Dicker trading the entire draft for the running back. Have me wake up in a cold sweat before the draft. Man, shouts out to you. Yeah, look, that whole Mike Dicker experience was terrible, right? I mean, that was like the worst thing ever. So anybody would talk about, they asked me what was the worst draft decision in history. I even put that poll out there. Everybody goes back to the Mike Dicker story. Everybody, man, Mike Dicker trading the entire draft. That's where everybody goes to, right? And sometimes they have you wake up in a cold sweat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up, they on the scene like a love machine. Okay. I got a feeling we're going to move up and it might be a pick from the Eagles. Well, look, I'm done with the Eagles, okay? The Eagles don't need to do no more to the Saints. Please stop the fight. Stop the fight. Okay, throw in the towel, please. Look, you can trade with anybody. Please don't do it with the Eagles because they're gonna find a way to backfire. It can work any other way. Then when you do something with the Eagles, here it come with the nonsense. So I'm good, man. TJ, the Black Panther voice when he said Joe Burrow will be licking his chops. TJ, the Black Panther voice when Joe Burrow, he will be licking his chops. The colonizers. Let's see. Just type in Chase Young name in YouTube. Damn near every team has a should we trade for Chase Young video up. Hey, it's called the algorithm. That's what it's called. It's called the algorithm. That's what people go after. If you're seeing, look, let me give y'all a little advice for all my podcast users out there, right? If you're doing a sports podcast, you're doing sports, right? Pay attention to the algorithm. Pay attention to it. Chase Young is a part of the algorithm right now. If you Google search him or Google the name Chase Young is going to come up. We ain't going to say Chase Daniel or Chase whatever, you know what I'm saying? A car chase, his name is going to come up, which means that he's trending. All right, so let me give y'all a little game on that. So the reason why all these people coming out the trees talking about it is simple. It's because, it's a hot topic. Now, the reason I'm talking about it, I'm just making it clear. I wasn't even going to be on tonight, but, after I left the podcast that I originally did, shouts out to Rising to the Occasion, I just I was checking my Twitter and I seen people asking me that question. So I'm like, okay, cool. But if you're seeing a bunch of that, it's because he's a part of the algorithm. Seriously, all the podcast users out there, pay attention to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're Google searching, I'm just giving y'all facts right now. If you're Google searching and you type in one name like a Dave or something like that, or something like that is the main name that is being searched during that time. So if you're doing if you're doing an NFL video or something like that, let's just say Aaron Rodgers gets traded. You want to make a video within 24 hours. You're probably going to get more views than you ever did, right? If you follow the algorithm. Just a little bit of some information for the podcast users out there. Pay attention to the algorithm that focus on your topic, even if it's not sports. You know, that's how you grow your channel. That and good content. You can't just type a name in and then be, like watching paint dry. Okay, you got to put some entertainment behind it and some work. Bro, draft night gonna be lit. Moderators will be in the building. Wrench game. Let's see. Tape for the Falcons 5-12. I think the Falcons gonna get Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's what I feel like they're gonna get. What up, TJ? Who that, everybody? I'm gonna read a few more and then we're gonna get up out of here. We know we love the Eagles. Yeah, we love making the Eagles better, right? I mean, it's tough having one organization putting everything, one GM putting everything together to win a Super Bowl. But when you got two GMs, you got two of them working together to try to build a Super Bowl. I mean, how can you stop that? How can you stop it? Who that, TJ? Do you think the Saints are seriously looking at Tyjae Spears in the draft? Also, I know you are a manager at a radio station. Have you thought about owning your own? Man, Ramsey, thank you very much for the question. Tyjae Spears, do I think the Saints seriously looking at him? Yes, I do. But man, look, I would love to see Tyjae Spears in a Saints uniform, but a guy who grew up in Louisiana, lived his entire life in Louisiana, I would like to see that man go somewhere else where he can branch out and, create his own lane and, see the world. Like, I look at guys like Justin Herbert, right? Justin Herbert is from Eugene, Oregon. He went to the University of Oregon in Eugene. Dude never left home until he got drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers. So I would like to see that guy go somewhere else, to be able to go out there and see the world. You know what I'm saying? I understand the money that he would make, he would be able to see the world. But what I'm saying is I just think I would love to see him go somewhere where, maybe like Buffalo or Chicago or somewhere like that, I mean, you go to Chicago, I mean, that would just be, continuation of great Tulane running backs going there, right? Matt Forte came from there, Tulane, and went to Chicago and became a legend. And see, I hope we're looking at Kendre Miller from TCU. The dude is an animal. I think a lot of people weren't paying attention to him because of his injury, but I think that he'll be well enough. And then it's not like he's going to be a starter. So I agree. They should be looking at him. So TJ, can you give me one last draft prediction for tomorrow? Look, okay, I'll give you a draft prediction and I'll also give you a draft shocker, what I feel. My draft prediction will be that Bryce Young will be the first pick overall. Miss me with the Will Levis stuff. Miss me with the whole CJ Stroud stuff, even though I like CJ Stroud. The dude is going to go number one. He's going to go number one. Period. That's the way I feel about it. My shocker and what I feel like people aren't going to be paying attention to, I feel Anthony Richardson is going to get drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to say that again. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Man, they just gave Geno Smith his money. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, before I see that typed in, I know somebody getting ready. They typing on their phone or their computer. Slow your roll. I want you to think about something for a second. Pete Carroll spoke to the media and said, quote, I'm quoting this. He said, we don't pick in the top 5. He said, we will not pick in the top 5. He said, we don't normally do that. He said, and I don't want to be here again. Now, Anthony Richardson is a guy that people consider as a work in progress. He's a guy that they consider as a project. So he's not going to be able to start. Now, think about all of these teams that need quarterbacks, right? They need those quarterbacks to be able to play right away. You know that he's not going to play right away, because Geno Smith signed that contract. But here it is. What if Geno Smith played really well last season, plays decent this season, and falls off the cliff the next season? Guess who's going to be there waiting in the wings? And not to mention, Geno is in his 30s now, and Seattle is talking about they don't want to pick at this position again. So you don't normally pick at this position because Pete Carroll, like he mentioned, they don't pick in the top 5. So this might be your only opportunity to be able to draft the quarterback of the future, because you won't be in this position, at least you hope, the next couple of years. So why not get a guy now like Anthony Richardson, who can be waiting in the wings, that can be sitting behind Geno Smith and developing. Then around the time it's time for you to, I don't know, get rid of Geno Smith or his contract is up, then Anthony Richardson would be ready. Sounds pretty good to me. That's one that I feel like people aren't paying attention to. But I feel like more likely it's going to happen. I know that Jalen Carter is the guy that everybody's talking about, but once again, I mean, you can get Anthony Richardson. You know he's going to be a work in progress, and you can sit him on the bench for a couple of years, and he can be there around the time Geno Smith's contract is up. Sounds good to me. As far as the Saints, okay, if the Saints stay at number 29, I think they're getting Darnell Washington. If the Saints move up, they're getting Kalijah Kancey. If Jalen Carter gets drafted or, by the Seattle Seahawks, I can see the Saints moving up. If Jalen Carter doesn't, if he doesn't get drafted, then you have to think about the other teams and what they actually need. So he's going to fall, right? So I think he will fall probably to 12 or 13. If he falls to 12 or 13, then that means that Kalijah Kancey probably has a strong possibility of going to the Saints, because you have other teams that's going to need other things during that time. So that's the way I look at it. Anthony Richardson would be my shock of the night, because everybody thinks Jalen Carter just a no-brainer to Seattle. Bryce Young is going to the Carolina Panthers. And the Saints, if they stay where they are, they're getting Darnell Washington. All right? If they don't, if they move up, they're only moving up, in my opinion, to get Kalijah Kancey. He's a similar arm to Carr, so ain't going later than that range, in my opinion. Let's see. Eagles GM Howie Roseman is on line 1. I hate to say it, but I think Philly going to get Jalen Carter with our pick. If they get Jalen Carter with our pick, that is crazy, by the way. They'll have Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, 2 Georgia Bulldogs who played alongside each other. That would be insane. And then, you got the other guy out there. I mean, man, they would be making Georgia out there at Philly. But, yeah, we'll see, though. We'll see. We'll see. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it, being a part of this impromptu show. It's a testament to the type of show that we actually build, that everybody can come on on such short notice. But I'm asking everybody, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your cousin them. On tomorrow, we will be having the third annual NFL draft edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Live draft reactions. We are going to be live as live can be from the start of the draft to the end of the draft. We're going to be right chump on the State of the Saints podcast. We're going to be right chump on the Gumbo Pie Sports podcast, giving you all what you need, New Orleans Saints talk. And thank you all so much for making the show such a success. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Also, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Y'all know the drill. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, Megaphone, also part of Belly Up Media Network. Make sure you subscribe to the Gumbo Pie Sports Podcast. We talk about all sports topics over there. We hitting the ground running, folks, okay? We ain't stopping, all right? We running. This is a marathon up in this thing. We are not going to stop, all right? We're going to continue to put out content. We're going to continue to show our love for sports. We're going to continue to show our love for the New Orleans Saints. Also, you can follow me if you want to interact with me on Twitter at TJAYJones8, and follow the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast page as well. It is Gumbo Sports Talk. That's Gumbo Sports Talk. Till next time, all I gotta say is tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your cousin them who that.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.